coming.
Marty,
Okay.
we need to see you.
I'm gonna find my start video in a second. I got my Christmas sweater on. There we go.
Good,
You see
there
my
you are.
Christmas?
Yeah.
A little early.
I know, but I figured there were snowflakes over in Vienna, earlier
There-
today. They didn't make
There
it
were
to Martin Luther
snowflakes
King.
here.
We had snowflakes. You saw snowflakes here.
Yes, I did.
Well, in that case, my snowflakes are totally appropriate.
Yeah.
And here comes Jen.
Yeah. So I got the pizza that you sent me, Marty. Just showed up. Thank you.
I
So the
do
village
send you
is
a
paying
pizza.
for that, huh? Great. Fantastic.
I would send you all pizzas. You have all deserved a pizza. But he's fibbing. I did not send him a pizza and skip the rest of you. I wouldn't do that. Jen, are you on? Can you hear us?
He's connecting.
Okay. And let's see, Michael, you start
So, Katie,
recording?
you have the most fabulous, I saw kids running over to your place yesterday, going to the front yard, having such a ball.
Oh.
So,
Well, that's why I do it.
yeah, go.
It is a treat. And being right there at the foot of Chestnut Street, everybody on our block just loves it. We look at the
Yeah.
street and look
I am at a hub. I'm at an intersection.
Yes, you are. Jen, welcome and unmute yourself. And we called the meeting to order 2 minutes ago. Are we recording, Michael?
Yes.
Okay, we're good.
Yes,
Good
we
to go. All right, I'm looking at the agenda here. We have a couple pieces to do tonight, and they're pretty important. We're almost done here, folks. It's really been quite an effort, and I thank you. And I want to thank all the residents who chimed in at one point or another too, because we've asked for resident input at every step of the way here, and we've gotten some really good input from folks, which is really nice. And again, Katie and Arthur, thank you for the council support here. All right, first item on the agenda is call to order, which we've done. 7:50, review the committee's main duties and timetable. We're right on schedule. Any questions or comments about that? Good to go? Okay. Any changes or revisions proposed for the minutes?
Look pretty good to me.
Well, thank you. We covered a lot, last time, and it was really a helpful meeting. I think, all of our meetings have been really productive, but that one was particularly, substantive, and thank you all. Any changes on the minutes? Jen, I did correct the spelling of your name. I caught that typo.
What's
Arthur?
that? Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Arthur, you want to say anything? Anybody? All right, we need a motion to approve the minutes if there are no changes.
I move to approve.
Is there a second?
I second it.
All right, Paul seconds. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, done. Resident comments. Larry, you're our current resident, so do you want to say anything at this point, or you're welcome to chime in at any point through the meeting? I mean, as you know.
Well, no, it's just, I think it's inexcusable that you are moving so fast and efficiently. You're screwing up.
Well, thank you for that.
I mean, what's going on here? That's all.
Thank you
I
for
have.
that positive input, Larry. I am an economist. I do try to be efficient and well organized, but really, this has been such a team effort. I couldn't be more happy with the product that we produced here. A lot of thought and effort from everybody into it, and just a lot of really good thinking. Really. So I think this is a high quality product we've got here. I'm proud to have been associated with it.
Marty, I have to say something. You have to be a gardener to get into the weeds like you do.
Yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
coming from another gardener like you know
Oh.
me, that's high praise too. That's very
Yes,
high
yes.
praise.
You pick the weeds. You know how to pick them.
Well, I mean, the whole thing with elections, if you're going to have good elections, you really have to look at the details of the procedures,
Yeah.
Because it's not hard to tilt an election by, changing procedures slightly. You can, do all kinds of unhealthy, undemocratic things. And it's really been a pleasure to have, you all pay such close attention to, what really, works best. What are the mechanics of fairness, if you want to put it that way. Jen, can you take the notes for the minutes tonight?
Yes, but I need a little bit of help for the next 20 minutes because I'm driving home right now. So
Fair
Uh,
enough,
if
fair enough.
someone can help me for 20 minutes, then I will do the rest when I get in and then they can just email me or scan me, whatever you got.
Yep.
Yeah, Margie just got rear-ended about 20 minutes ago coming back from Arlington.
Oh, no, is
Oh,
she
no.
okay?
So yeah, you gotta be careful tonight. They're not looking.
No, I will do my best. I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, thank you for joining us en route, Jen, and we have a volunteer to take 20 minutes worth of notes for the minutes?
How about somebody else? Paul, you're
Yeah.
good at taking the notes.
I can't take the notes and do the management of the meeting too. I need somebody else. Don't all volunteer at once now.
I don't know. I don't think I'm allowed to take the notes, otherwise I would.
No, I don't think you can.
I mean, for 20 minutes, I mean, I get them off recording anyway. You know, I mean, it's all in the recording.
Okay, well, the only thing we have to record so far is that we started at 7:46
I got that. I already have that.
and that we're all here.
All
and
here.
One resident,
Got Larry's name.
and we approved the minutes unanimously.
Oh, I didn't get Katie's name, but I'll put down Katie's name.
Yes, include Katie and Arthur. We include everybody who.
And Katie and Arthur. I did see Arthur. I heard him.
Yeah, Arthur's here.
Okay.
And I'm out on bail, so that,
Out on bail. Oh, Larry. Okay, so moving on, this is our final public working session to put this document together. And I think it's looking pretty good. We heard from a couple of residents after we posted in, for the packet, and got a lot of compliments. I mean, from the people who did call or email. They said, nice job, which is a compliment I pass along to you all. So review and vote on the final draft of the main consolidated document. That's a biggie. Before we do that, I think we should do the simple piece, which is to review and vote on that one-page election schedule. Did everybody got that? Everybody saw that was in the packet? It just
Yes.
listed out? Yeah. And yeah, any changes on that?
No, I thought it was really very concise document that would be very helpful in the future.
Well, hopefully in the future, if the council does make this an ordinance, the future committees won't have to worry about the procedures. They'll just be the
Right.
same. And all they'll have to submit is this schedule. And
Right.
that would be so much easier than what we've gone through the last week.
Right.
So I do think we ought to call it a schedule instead of a plan. I mean, I actually.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, a plan referred to like the whole kit and caboodle in the last couple of
Yeah.
years. We talked about the election plan being the whole, what we're calling the ordinance. And this is just a schedule. And this is the piece
Right.
that
Hey,
we
Marty,
Yes, sir.
is your audio down, or is your microphone away from you, or whatever? I'm having a little trouble. Maybe it's my system as well. Anybody else having trouble hearing her?
No,
I hear it fine.
Okay, on
I'm
my
not.
end. Yeah.
Well, I'm moving a little closer,
Okay.
so I hope that will help. And I will speak more distinctly if I can, which always helps.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so we need a motion to change the word plan to schedule on that one pager. Anyone so move?
I move.
A second?
I'll
I
second.
second.
I got a couple of seconds. All in favor, please say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are calling it the schedule for the 2024 election. And one of the sort of fun things about how all the pieces are coming together here is that the draft of our document tonight says that future committees shall submit this schedule to the council at least 6 months before the election. Well, our election date is May 7th, and tomorrow is going to be December 7th. So we're right on time. So council members, you will get this from us tomorrow. And of course, I'll CC the whole committee on it when I send it, but I think we're good to go. We've met our first official deadline here. Any questions, comments before we move on? Okay, now, yeah, no, maybe? Okay, and again, everyone who's here is welcome to participate in this discussion. We really appreciate the input. Okay, so you got in front of you your December 6th working draft, which had the additional resident comments marked in blue. And it really is nice that we have residents who care enough about this to pay attention and give us markups and give us feedback. And, one of us here tonight, Larry, thank you for all your help. I think the way to proceed here is to just go through section by section and approve the stuff that's in red and in blue if we agree with it. And just record the votes. So I think the simplest way, John, to take notes here is to just record a number. So let's go to there's nothing under the change of the purpose section. All right. We've already approved that. We can prove it again. So all in favor of that language in section 1 purpose, please say aye.
Aye.
Section 1, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Approved?
Approved.
Okay.
And I don't know if procedurally we need to say these are all votes, but they probably should be. So we should probably do a procedural motion to say that these approvals constitute votes. Can someone make a motion like that?
I
I'll
second.
move. Okay.
Okay.
I mean,
Move and
it's-
second.
No
I
me,
move. Yeah.
moved, John second. So each of these approvals shall be recorded as an official vote of the committee.
Right.
And if there's any disagreement, I mean, wouldn't necessarily have to be 5-0 and everything. Could be, 3-2 or 4-1 or whatever, but just record the number next to it. So now we're down to section 2, the village council process. We have a little bit of an edit in the first paragraph of that, which just tightened up the language a little bit. One of the people who got back to us here was a very good editor. So all in favor of that language?
So I just have a question.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
The council annually appoints?
Yeah.
Yeah. The-
Okay.
The election committee is not a floating committee.
I thought it was a 2-year.
No, we're 1 year.
Okay. Okay.
So paragraph 1, under section Roman numeral 2, we have approved. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I,
Okay, paragraph 2 there has the red stuff in it. And that was a direct consequence of the discussion we had last time on the 30th of November about whether we conduct or manage the election. And you'll remember that the committee voted unanimously to say that we conduct the election because we thought manages was not clear enough. That was, a unanimous vote. But then one of the smart residents who read this said, well, look, you don't want to fight over a word, if you're going to argue issues, you should argue issues, not verbiage. And I thought that was smart. And then that resident very helpfully gave us the language that we circulated in the packet. And instead of saying the word conducts, said, just list at the end all the different things you do. And so that's the language you saw in the packet there, which is the language in red is what was in the packet.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a good option. But since we voted unanimously to use the word to say we conduct the election at our last meeting, we now need to actually have a vote on whether we say manage or conduct up in the third line. You see where it says conduct with a question mark?
yeah.
And, either one of these avenues would probably work. So this is open. What do y'all think? Which one do you
Marty,
prefer?
wait a minute. I don't know that that's the document.
It's the
I'm-
4th line.
Oh, I see. Yeah, all right.
Right.
But you also notice that unmarked red or blue, in the very first sentence, it's also been added.
Well, that was moved from the end sentence in that paragraph up to the
understand.
beginning.
I understand, but at the present moment, it clearly says manage, so there's no need to argue over it right there in the very first sentence as well.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's a
Okay?
good point.
And then, yeah, I agree, you should, if it were me, I would change from conduct to manage in that second sentence.
Good input. Yeah, don't want to have to fight over a word. We got serious, a serious document here, and I want to spend our energy well. So
Marty, I did want to mention that it does say manage at other points in the code. I went and checked.
yes, it
says
does.
the election committee manages the election.
Yeah, the charter says that too. So thank you for checking that. That's the word that has been used. Our concern as a committee was that it wasn't clear enough about where the line of responsibilities really is, and that we thought conducts was clearer. But committee vote here. So Paul, Nomi,
As long as we outline what the committee is in charge of,
mm-hmm,
I think we're safe with the word managers.
okay. Paul,
I concur. Lloyd.
okay. Jen, do you have a thought on that?
I'm good with manage.
Okay,
I think manage.
Yeah, I mean, I see it the way Naomi does, which is, if the word is unclear, then the answer is in elucidating what the actual duties are.
Well said. So let's call a vote for this. Can someone please make a motion to not use the word conduct, but approve the language that's in red here, which uses manages throughout and includes the elucidation? We need a
Oh,
motion.
wait a minute, that's not what you're saying. You're saying that in this sentence, you're changing the word conduct to manage. You need to say it that way, believe me.
Okay. May we have a motion to,
Your arse is on it.
may we have a motion to use the word manage instead of conduct in that sentence?
I so move.
A
Second?
second.
I approve.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay. Word conducts come out. Now may we have a
Wait a
motion,
minute, you said manage or conduct.
manage. We're
Yeah,
using-
right, that's what I wrote. That's what I thought you said, but then, okay,
Yeah, to use the word manage throughout the second paragraph of section 2.
yeah, okay, all right.
No,
Okay.
that's not what you're saying. That's what I'm trying to tell you, Marty.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Larry.
You need to hold this to sentence 2, that you're simply changing the word conduct to manage, period.
All right. We have done that. We have approved that.
Okay?
Yeah,
All right.
But-
now we're
but
approving
do
the
not-
language.
Do not imply that everywhere else that's what's being said, because there are some things you have to clearly state you're conducting.
Right. Like conducting the forum. And that's in
Okay.
the next sentence. So what I
So
would like to do,
I just don't want your minutes to misstate something, and that's what's
Yeah.
happening.
I appreciate
Fine.
that care. Yep. Good clarification. All right. May we now have a vote to approve the language shown in red in paragraph 2, the entire paragraph?
I vote, I propose. I move.
I second it.
Paul seconds. All right. All in favor of adopting paragraph 2, please say aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Okay, unanimous? No opposed? Okay. Under the general provisions, we have a new section 2 that came from a resident who pointed out, apparently had been at meetings where council members had said from now on, Arthur, I think, and Katie, you might have been among them, who said we, standardize the procedures and then we just have to have a schedule. And we realized that nowhere in this ordinance did it say the committee should have, present the schedule for council approval, which of course we do need to do. So I think this is nice, clear language, but what do you all think? All right. This is about number 2 under section 3, general provisions.
Makes it very clear when we have to do it and what we have to do.
Other,
I agree. Mhm.
all right. Motion to approve,
I approve.
second,
Second,
all in favor, please say aye.
Aye,
I,
Aye.
Okay, good to go. Any opposed? No. All right, you all are so efficient. I love it. All right, on number 3, under that same section, we have in red, a clarification that the committee shall instruct the village staff to publish the official notices of the election, the official election notices of the election and forum and the details of the election cycle for that year. We took it out of passive voice and made it clearer. And then added that we would have instruct the village staff to publish stuff on the website and on the village communication channels. And again, just clarification, the staff shall post the committee's election announcements throughout the election cycle. I don't think there's anything controversial there. What do
No.
you guys? We good to go?
yeah, I move.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
aye,
Aye.
I,
Okay, approved unanimously, no one opposed. All right, and no change in number 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and 9. So I think we can approve, or 10, actually, 210. I think we can approve those as a block.
yeah,
So move, anyone so move?
I move.
Second?
I'll second.
All right, the motion is to approve numbers 4 through 10 as a block. All in favor, please say aye.
aye,
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
Wouldn't you also include 10 in there?
well, 10 actually has some red language in it, so we need to talk
Oh,
about it.
I don't see it. Okay,
All right, well, no, 10, yeah, 10, excuse me. Yes, that 10 is, it's 4 through 10. 4 through 10. Number
Yeah.
11 is what we just approved, number 4 through 10. And number
And
11
also 11 doesn't have any new language.
11 does.
Oh,
Okay,
That
I
was
don't
where,
see it.
yeah, we had two stages of changes there. We'd initially said that the elections may include referendums pursuant to the Maryland state election law. And then Ron last week suggested that we not refer to the election law, but just set up our own version of it, which is fine. And then one of the residents who got back to us said that we need to not just say there will be a referendum, but actually say that some timeline for it, because if we got a referendum proposed a week before the election, we couldn't even put it on the ballot. So they suggested the March 15th. And that made sense to me because that mid-March area is when we're formulating the ballot format. So that's sort of right in time. So we have the new language in 11.
Okay,
right?
that's section, I'm sorry, that's section 4, that's section 5, number 11.
Yeah.
Okay,
Section 2, number 11. Right, we're still in general provisions. Okay,
okay. No, section 3.
Section 3, you're correct, Section 3. You know, we're trying to organize this document, but
You know, okay, we're missing section 4, but never mind.
okay. So we're in Section 3, general provisions, the last item, number 11.
Right,
We need a motion to approve as written here.
I move.
Second, anybody?
I'll second it.
All right, Paul seconds. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, approved. Okay, qualified voters who can vote. I think we just need to, again, I think this is clear. Is there any question about the first paragraph there under qualified voters who can vote?
Is that a change?
The red line was the change that we put in the packet, but no, there's no substantive change there.
I think I move that we
Well,
approve all the sections that do not have any either blue or red pieces to it. And that's 4 through 10.
All right, we already did that, Nomi.
Oh, okay. No, I'm talking about Roman numeral,
Roman numeral 4.
Roman numeral 4 through 11, actually.
well,
I think
I'm
there-
looking at Roman numeral 4, which says qualified voters who can vote. That's the next section.
I'm scrolling through. Yeah,
well,
Right.
yeah.
Well, we do
there are
have a
no
change.
changes there.
We do have a change in it on the draft that I'm working from.
Oh, okay, I have a different draft.
Yes, Paul, Larry?
yeah, I don't, you know, I'm probably behind the door on this, but, in that first paragraph under qualified voters who can vote, I saw the comment, permanent abode in several situations that had nothing to do with case law, and so I don't understand why that's even in there.
That's in there because Ron Bolt used that precise language in the charter. It is the charter language now. And that was the language, the permanent abode. We all questioned it back when the council, in fact, the council talked about it. Because that's weird language. I mean, none of us have a permanent abode. I mean, you know, but that's actually the language specifically from the lawsuit that said that, you know, property ownership alone doesn't give you voting rights. So he's quoting the legal case there. And that's exactly the language that is in the charter now because the council approved it in September. And I think that we need to not stray from that. We need to quote the charter. That's the charter definition now. That's official. And
You mean
yeah, I'm
the
not happy with that
charter
term
actually
either.
reads permanent abode according to case law?
Yes, that's the case law that required the council to make this change in our definition of qualified voters. That's the word, phrase, and at the time, you know, again, the council talked about it because people said, "What do you mean permanent abode?" And Ron did say in the
Oh.
language he gave us,
Yeah.
you know, our primary abode, and then he put that permanent abode thing in.
No, the phrasing permanent abode is used throughout you can find it in all kinds of issues for voting and taxation. Frank.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not, but this thing, according to case law, is just so, you just don't see it in charters, other charters. You don't see it in ordinances because
I-
it's ridiculous. I'm sorry.
I actually don't, I think we've had discussions about it. I don't think we need to discuss it again.
Okay.
Any other comments?
So
on
what
this?
is new in this section? I don't see blue or red there.
All right, well, in our section, it says, instead of deemed one's primary residence, it now says deemed the voter's primary residence,
Oh, okay, that's fine.
okay?
Yeah, I see
Um,
that.
And then
Okay.
we added, as a committee, the last line, the address shown on the resident's driver's license and used for other official purposes is generally considered the person's primary residence.
Perfect.
Can we have a motion on it?
I move to approve this section. Section Roman numeral 4.
Roman numeral 4, paragraph 1. Second?
I second it, paragraph 4.
All right, Roman numeral 4,
Four and
qualified
paragraph
voters,
4.
first paragraph.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, you
Marty,
second?
I have a quick question there.
Sure.
At the end of that first, at the end of the paragraph pursuant to charter section, the address shown on the resident's driver license or used for other official purpose, should there be or other document used for other official purposes or something? Is there a word missing there?
No, because this is not the part, good question. This is not the part where we're talking about documentation. We're just talking about what's the address that counts.
Yeah,
as
but I'm
your
just
primary.
trying to understand that sentence. The
Yeah.
address shown on the resident's driver's license
Mhm.
or used, what is the or used? The address
The address, this
address
refers to the
shown
address.
on the license or the address used for other official purposes. Okay, I wasn't sure what the or was linking up.
Yeah, this
It's
is
not
just saying,
license, it's
yeah,
address.
this is just defining what a primary address is, what your
Right,
primary.
okay,
residence is.
I just didn't understand the sentence as written.
That's a good question. Ask anything.
Good.
This is why we're here. All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve this paragraph. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Good on that one. All right. In the next paragraph, we had a nice bit of editing by one of our helpful residents to just shorten it a little bit, which I'm always in favor of. It now says, instead of having 2 sentences, it says renters and caregivers who reside in Martin's Additions are eligible to vote if VMA is their primary address or primary residence. All in favor?
I move aye.
Aye.
Okay. I think we've got an okay on that one. All right. No change on the next sentence. We approved?
Yes. Are we approving no changes?
Yeah, no change there. No change. And this says voters in Martin's Additions need not be registered to vote. All right. In the next paragraph that I've got marked red, property ownership does not confer voting rights. That's no change from what we approved last time. All in favor of that paragraph, please say aye.
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 We're gonna get tired of saying aye. I didn't.
So-
Marty, can I interject? I'm now home and taking notes, so just to pass the baton, if that's okay.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you. What we're doing is basically just writing okay on each place where we take a separate vote.
Yeah.
Marty, are we actually looking for approval of things we've already approved?
No, this was just still marked in red on what we had in the packet, so we needed to vote on it.
Okay, okay.
All right. Last paragraph in that section. Residents who are, we approve the property ownership does not convey voting rights. That's what we just did. Last paragraph in that section is residents who are temporarily deployed on military service. May we have a motion to approve that?
Also move.
Second,
I second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay, we've got an okay on that. We are going to move through this pretty quickly, I hope. Under section 5, village voter roll, we don't need to do anything with paragraph 1. In paragraph 2, there was again a nice piece of editing by Neighbor. It says in the last sentence, instead of having 2 sentences, it just says showing the voter's full name, date of birth, and current residence or current address in Martin's Additions. And striking the next sentence, it said date of birth separately. Any comments on that?
No, I vote to approve.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Last paragraph of that section had changes marked in red. The names of those who are no longer qualified voters. All right. That just doesn't seem particularly strange to me, but I think there may have been a little bit of editing on that line. So any questions about that?
No,
All right. All in favor of approving the third paragraph under village voter roll, please say aye.
aye.
Any opposed?
All right,
That was an aye. Or John? Paul?
I approve. Yep.
You okay? All right, procedure for voting. No change in the first paragraph. All right, going down to the paragraph that begins promptly after 8 p.m., the election committee shall open the drop box and record, count and record. Again, this is pretty straightforward, some nice editing on somebody's part. Any changes on that paragraph?
No,
Okay, using our expedited procedure, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's approved. Next paragraph. Again, there was some editing there. I don't think that there's anything substantive, but take a look at it and tell me what you think.
looks fine to me.
Yeah, I
What
thought
is
it
it?
was clear.
What does it start with?
Say again?
What does the paragraph start with?
I'm sorry. The paragraph starts with, the committee shall instruct the contractor,
Right, okay.
da-da-da,
I
to
just
mail
want to
the,
make sure, maybe I misheard you, but did you approve the first two paragraphs of this procedures for voting?
Yes, we
Yes.
did.
Jen?
we're
Is
going
that
through this
true?
paragraph by paragraph. Yep.
I don't think it is, but okay.
Okay. Any other questions, Larry?
Nope.
Okay. So we're now in the paragraph that starts, the committee shall instruct the contractor to mail the ballot packet to the voters the day after the forum. Any changes?
No,
Okay. Anyone else? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, good to go. There are no changes on the next four paragraphs, so they're good. Last paragraph in that section got edited a little bit. One of the residents said that we should say the election committee shall post public reminders, not just reminders, which seemed to me no harm done there, makes it clearer. Any comments on that last paragraph? It starts all
That's
completed
good.
ballot
That's good
envelopes.
editing. Yeah.
Okay, expedited procedure. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay. All right, nominations and candidate filing process. Let's see. In the first paragraph, there's a change toward the end of it. This came from a resident too, saying that if you nominate someone other than yourself, you have to get a written statement from the person saying that they agree to be nominated. And the change was, and should make the nomination early enough to ensure that the nominee has time to prepare the candidate filing materials before the filing deadline. I had no problem with that.
I have no problem with that.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
trying to move through this quickly. I know it's tedious. Okay, second paragraph has the bit about 1,000 words instead of 700 marked in red, but we already approved that, so I think we're good on that. Yes, folks agree?
Yes,
Okay, so that last paragraph in that section has the word promptly review the submissions and I have another change there, says, oh, the candidate statements of interest and qualifications. The resident there thought that statement of interest could refer to the conflict of interest. And he wanted to make it clear that it's the statement of qualifications, the resident's qualifications. So the actual name of that document, the candidate statement, is the candidate statement of interest and qualifications. So that just was clarifying that. Any comments?
Looks good.
Okay. Let's do expedited process. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that's approved. All right, now we're down to announcement of candidates. And this just sort of specifies where we have to, publish stuff. The only change that came in over the transom in the last couple of days was the very last line, where we had the thing that said that the committee may also distribute information in printed flyers, and the resident said, or by other means. He said, you could distribute stuff any way you want. It's good election information. So I thought that was a fine idea. Any questions about that?
No.
Thoughts? Okay, are we ready to vote?
Vote, approve.
Approved? Okay, all in favor of that, since section number 8, announcement of candidates as amended here in our draft, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Okay, good to go. My dog approves of it too. Okay. Number 9, election forum. Couple changes there. Allow qualified voters and other residents. That makes sense. That's not new. They did that last year and the year before. My question there is highlighted in yellow. You see the yellow highlighting there? It says here that the form has to be at least 10 days before election day, just to allow time for the ballots to get delivered, and people can then have a week or so to have their ballots before we have the table and the drop box on the sidewalk. Question was, should it be longer? Should it be 14 days? I mean, that would, depending on when if you did election day on May 10th or May 15th, that would slide a little bit. I think 10 days is probably okay the way we had it, but open for discussion.
We're
Larry.
talking 10 business days?
We could say that. We could say that, yeah. Larry, get your hand up. Unmute yourself. Larry,
I
you're
like
muted.
I like the business day aspect. I think that's good.
Yeah,
to
I,
Incorporate.
if I remember correctly, what happens is that people are not procrastinators. Therefore, this is not about me. What happens is the ballot shows up, they open it and vote.
That's
There's
true,
a lot
Larry.
of people that do that.
Yeah, when you look at the distribution in mail vote elections, you get 2 humps. It's a bimodal distribution. There's the whole group, and it is a large group, you're exactly right, of people who vote that ballot within a day. Just boom,
Yeah.
do it, get it done.
And so how does this treat that?
What this does is say that the election forum has to happen before people get their ballots. That's a fairness issue. And that the contractor will mail out the ballot package the day after the forum. So people will get them 3 days after the forum, 4 days, no more than 5.
Okay.
And what this says when we're saying that the voting day, when we have the drop box on the sidewalk, should be at least 10 days after that, after the forum, because we want people to have their ballots in time to vote them. You wouldn't want to have the ballots arrive on a Tuesday and have the drop box on a Wednesday. You need to leave some time there. Make sense?
Thank you.
I do have a question about the use of business days with an election form, because I do recall we had a makeup or an additional forum on a weekend.
Yeah,
2
I recall.
elections ago. And sometimes I know, last year when I ran the election committee, you have to move mountains to get 3 people. I mean, there were only 3 candidates that time, and just our schedules, how to schedule 3 people that are available at the same time. So would this just would there be no option for a weekend form, or would it be a weekday? I mean, if you stick to that, I would think business days is fine, but you never know if your candidates are all like, I can't make it a Sunday afternoon works for me. I'm just throwing that out there.
No, that's a really good point. And what we're setting here is the sort of the normal procedure, which would be not that you'd have to have a second forum because the first one didn't get recorded, which
Right,
I recall.
special circumstances.
I have complete confidence that Michael and Aaron will record our forum this
I
year.
do too, yes.
And the other thing is that, we asked the candidates to confirm their availability for that April
Mhm.
25th date, I think it is, for the forum. As soon as they sign up. I mean, they
Ah.
basically, their filing date is what,
That's
March
true.
23rd.
Mhm.
And one of the first questions we ask them is, here are our proposed forum dates. Can you hold these?
Mhm.
You'll see in the schedule that we just approved that we had, I think, April 24 and 25.
Right.
You get your choice, pick one, right? Which
Mhm,
one's better?
mhm.
So that they're going to pick that in
Right.
March, right? When they first file, so we'll be able to put out the official election info packet that has that forum date and notice in it.
Well,
And
okay, I think the issue here is just, how do you count? You count all days, you just count business days, and doesn't preclude holding a forum on a weekend or a
Yeah.
non
No.
so-called business day.
no, it doesn't preclude us from holding the forum on a weekend. It says you
It's
have
just
to
a
have a
counting process.
counting, it's just counting 10 business days.
From the, okay, I think that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. That makes sense. Okay.
All right, so we actually do have a revision here, which I think makes sense. The proposal on the floor the motion is to change this from 10 days to say 10 business days.
Whatever that is these days.
Yeah, I know, we're all working on weekends, aren't we? All in favor of changing this to say no less than 10 business days before election day? Please say aye.
Aye.
Any
Yeah.
opposed? No one opposed? Okay, we got another 5-0
ju-
vote there.
Just to double check, in that time period, there's nothing weird, like a federal holiday or something?
No, we did check that when we set the schedule back in October at our first meeting. And it's not Easter and it's not a school break as far as we could tell. So it looked like it would work for us, but it wasn't.
None of those are business days.
Well, in 10 days you must have. Yeah,
A federal day, a federal
True.
law.
That's true.
true. No, I mean, good point. Good point. If there was a federal holiday in there, that would just give us a little extra room.
It's not a business day.
Okay, that's right. Okay. So we have approved saying no less than 10 business days before election day, which I think is good.
Yeah.
And then we deleted the next paragraph below that, you see it striked out because that was in the forum procedure in Appendix B. All right, moving on to number 10. Yay. Instructions for the mail vote election service contractor. All right.
Michael, are you there?
Michael, we still got you?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, take a look at that first line under item 10. The election committee manages the elections process. The mail vote service contractor reports to the committee. How do you feel about that?
Let me take a look at it.
Yeah, take a look. This has been a debated issue.
Marty, I don't know where we are.
I
It's
have to
section
excuse
10.
myself. I have to excuse myself for a minute.
Okay.
Marty, where
Larry,
are we?
Larry, go to Roman numeral 10,
New
thing is-
10, old 12.
Latin 10. It says instructions for the mail vote service contractor. Section is headed instructions for the mail vote election service contractor. And we're
Right.
in the first paragraph of that section.
That's really how can the village manager that's interference.
Well, we
People
had this
on the
discussion.
council who are the bosses of the village manager are running for re-election, some of them.
Larry,
And-
Larry, I will interrupt you here. This was carefully worked out at the last meeting about issues and administers versus reports to. And there was a delineation of duties a separation of duties here.
So where is
That's
that?
the question that's up for discussion at the moment, is this,
Okay, wait
is
a
the
minute.
separation of duties.
Where is it says administers the contract.
Right,
In
because
what way does the village manager administer the contract?
by signing contracts, by issuing RFPs, by issuing
what?
checks
By what?
and money.
Handles the administrative nature of it, the submission and the, yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned at the last meeting on the 30th that I have a lot of government contracts, my company does. And all of them, there's this two-part structure where the contracts office handles the paperwork, that gives me the contract to sign, and they handle they give it to payroll to pay my invoices. But I don't report to the contracts office. I report to the general manager of Metro, or the director of a federal agency, or the director of civil rights. And that I think is what Arthur and Katie are talking about, is that separation of responsibilities. Is that right? Have I got that right, Katie?
Yes, yeah.
Well, if that's the case, it should. So, the village manager administers a lot of contracts.
That's right.
But in
He
each and every-
administers all of the contracts.
But he doesn't manage or supervise all the
can I-
work.
Thank you. I want to finish without.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I
hopefully without
interrupted.
interrupting.
I apologize, Larry. Go ahead.
That's exactly the point. It is not the village manager or anyone else's except the committee's purview to determine whether the parts of the contract are being conducted properly. And that makes it hard for you to place this burden on the village manager, unless you say, and administers the contract at the direction of the election committee. Because you're the only people that should be ascertaining whether that contract is being followed, properly performed.
Yeah, I take your point.
Yeah,
If I may,
Yeah.
I understand this is a sensitive issue and there's back and forth in the village about this topic. From my perspective, is just trying to get clarity around what the reality is. And the reality is the election service provider, calls me at random hours, has my cell phone number, sends me proofs of what the envelopes are going to look like, and those go to the committee, and the committee signs confirming that they agree this is what the envelope should look like, and then I send that certified signature from the committee back to the election committee. So I am kind of playing middleman between these two sides, but I am administering the contract, and I am
at the direction of the committee. You send it to the committee, they look at it, give you the directions that yes, that's correct.
right. And as long as every
Michael, would you like to be out of that middleman position? I mean, there's no reason why the contractor, Nikki, or anybody who were assigned this year should have to. I mean, it's like an extra step, it seems to me. I'm an economist. I like efficiency. If the committee is going to be directing it,
well, the committee is volunteers, and it does work as a committee. It's not just one person. So, I am positioned to be the contact person because, I have the email and I have the phone number. That's an official thing.
But so could the committee chair or vice chair. You don't need to be that contact.
And again, that's not for me to decide, I guess, whether what I do or don't do.
One of our goals here, Michael, was to help sort of have a nice, clear, bright line here and take the workload burden off you, because you have tons of other things to do, like, sidewalks on Brookville Road and water, problems. I mean, and this is something that really does, I think, properly belong, under the jurisdiction of the committee. And let's make life easier for you, take you out of the picture. I mean, we'll call you if you need your help. I mean, you're still,
Again, that's not for me to decide. That's for you all to decide what you want, and the council to ultimately decide. But I'm just telling you what
I know that's how it
what
has
my
been.
understanding of the process. So
That was the process last year, and that's what I think, like, maybe to change this year, where we're looking to have the committee really just, run the elections. And
I'm
yes.
telling you.
Well, Michael, what are your thoughts on that? I mean,
ultimately, I am responsible for it because I would be administering the contract. I would be signing the contract. I would be paying them. And I would, definitely want to keep tabs on all of the work that they were or weren't doing. I wouldn't want to let go of the pieces of the contract, at least my knowledge of what's happening. But the committee actually approves anything that happens with the election. It's not me approving for them to send anything. It would just be, the contractor with my tracking it, implementing the election plan as at the direction of the committee.
So Michael, what you're suggesting is that for the contractor would have a single point of contact. You wouldn't be wondering, who do I call on this? Do I call Michael? Do I call Marty on this? So if they have a single point of contact, then you would then farm out all the things that come.
And my understanding is that's how it's always been. And that's how it was.
Back in the, Larry, I'll come to you in 1 second. I just want to clarify. Back when we first worked with Eclectic in the 2020 election, I was the committee chair back then. And the contact went to the committee. And it was, there was one person, it was me as the committee chair. And we coordinated with the then manager, but he, like you, had a lot else to do. And it was a direct link. I mean, I basically am the one who vetted Eclectic and the other mail vote contractors back in 2020 when we were first doing this. I talked to the Bowie and Rockville and, who are you using? What do they do? And, so there was a direct line back then. And I think we should probably go back to that and not have an extra link in this loop. Larry, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You had your hand up.
Well, Michael is a wonderful manager. But Michael may not always be here. And so this ordinance needs to be written so it's clear who does what to whom, regardless of the person in charge, or regardless of the person in charge's competence or opinions. The issue here is that the council is afraid they might lose control of something or whatever. And the solution is when you administer the contract at the direction of the committee, which makes it clear that things that happened in the past where council members directed the village manager to take actions on elections doesn't occur, because it clearly states that the manager can administer, but at the direction of the committee. Therefore, there's no surprises to the committee when something has happened. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, etc. It's very clear, at the direction of the committee, period.
I like that wording, Larry. I think that's actually quite workable. What do the rest of you think? Jen, you have a thought on that?
My only question is, I agree with Larry's proposed change. Because I do think, I don't know that we're not going to be the ones dealing with the money and everything else, and we are volunteers. The question that I have is, should it say at the sole direction of the committee or at the direction of the committee?
I think sole direction actually makes it clear. That's a good suggestion. I agree with that. What do the rest of you think?
I think it's a huge improvement.
Stronger language, yeah. More to the point.
Okay, John, Paul?
I do like the term the sole direction of the committee. That would be, but here again, I just don't know if leaving Michael out of the picture, so to speak, is going to present problems. I mean, what happens if you're our committee head, Marty? Okay, what happens if you have to go to Europe or whatever? Where are you going to be to approve the sole direction of the committee? I mean,
That's what we have a vice chair for.
Well, that's what you have 4 other members.
And furthermore, it doesn't take Michael out of the loop. He's still administrating, but at the sole direction of the committee.
Marty, can you read what a final sentence like that would look like now?
Yes. The village manager issues and administers the contract at the sole direction of the committee, period. The election committee manages the election process. The mail vote service contractor reports to the committee. And
That's pretty clear, yeah.
that makes that line, you know, that bright line. I think that we need to CC Michael and everything. I certainly plan to. Michael, you're not gonna not know
no,
what we're
I
doing.
don't like that. When you say administers at the sole direction of the committee, I thought you were going to have him, the service contractor would report to the village manager, who would operate under the direction of the committee, something like that.
No, I think
No,
what we
the
really,
manager cannot administer under the direction of the committee.
Why not?
That it crosses administrative boundaries. The
How do you mean
manager is operating a village contract issued by the village. The committee does not issue contracts, does not pay checks, does not do anything like that.
Right,
It's the
That-
village manager who administers contracts.
that's correct. And he does it under, in this case, under the direction. By the
No.
way, he administers every other contract under the direction of the council, whether you realize it or not.
And will continue to do so in this case.
Yes. but
The
that-
question
point here
isn't that
is-
first, the question doesn't relate to that first sentence. The question relates to the third sentence. The mail vote service contractor reports to the committee. That is the sentence under question.
I think that's pretty critical, Arthur. Let me just respond to that and ask everyone else to chime in. I mean, that is the normal practice for, as I said, all my government.
Right, that's
contracts.
right. But
And
then you get this problem, Marty, of the contractor, as Michael noted, calling up at all hours, sending messages. Are you going to be responsive at all hours and all times?
I already
as a-
am,
As a
Arthur.
volunteer, or if
I
you're not
already am.
available, how does
Yeah.
that get passed on?
I mean, I think Marty is, from what I've seen, but
Thank you for that vote of confidence, Katie. I appreciate that. Or character reference or whatever we call that. Yes, I think the committee has a responsibility to, step up and manage the election, and that means being available. And like I said, I've got wonderful backup on this group here. I mean, this has been a wonderful committee to work with all along, and I have absolutely no qualms about having the contractor report to the committee. I think that is in fact structurally appropriate, because I don't, on my contracts, report to the administrator of the contract. I report to the general manager of Metro, or I report to the head of the Office of Civil
Yeah.
Rights, or the IG. I mean, I got a lot of contracts where I'm doing investigations for the IG, the Inspector General for an. And I mean, I don't even tell the contracts office. It's the IG that supervises my work, that assigns my duties, that evaluates my performance. And it's strictly, I mean, I file the invoices. I mean, if you talk about the mechanics of this, I file my invoices with the Inspector General's office, if that's the project. And they sign off on it as the subject matter expert, if you will, before they send it to payroll to pay me. And that actually protects the government agencies from paying somebody who didn't perform, because the director or manager of the agency I'm reporting to is basically signing off on that invoice saying that, yes, I performed the work. And then they give it to the administrator, in this case, that'd be Michael, to pay it. So it actually protects Martin's Additions to
Right.
have
But
the contractor report to the committee that can supervise its actual content of its work and quality of its work. And then
My
we,
suggestion on this is to leave this as is and have it be debated at the council meeting.
that's an option. I would rather sort of, get it cleared up here. I mean, Katie and Arthur, do you understand this is between a contract administrator and a project?
Yes, I fully understand that.
I do
Okay.
too. Yeah, I do.
Can I just make a jump back in? Sorry, Katie, to
Yeah,
interrupt.
go-
The,
No, it's
Go ahead.
okay. Go ahead.
there's been a couple references to me as HR and not related to this committee. There's been a couple references to me as like an office manager. And I do kind of ruffle my feathers at that comment. I'm a chief administrative officer and take my position with a lot of pride. So that said, I don't think this is really a big deal. I understand there's some history here, but and Larry said, like, well, what happens if, it's not Michael in that position? And I appreciate the compliment, Larry, even though he's not there anymore. The same thing could be said for the committee. What happens if we don't have such a strong committee in the future? What if we have a rogue committee that wanted to cut the manager out of it? How would this language, prevent that or safeguard against that? Rogue committee just telling the election committee to do all sorts of, the election service contractor to do all sorts of things. So I
Well,
do think it needs to be clear that the manager is administering this contract and at the direction of the committee. That's fine. But the idea that you all could just be giving the committee orders without me being in the loop, it raises a red flag for me.
Understandably, and I take your point. I think that, you have smart people, good people in position, everything works smoothly. If people change, sometimes that changes. And I think that what we're trying to do here is set up a, permanent procedure or a long-term procedure that'll work. The thing that I think prevents the committee from going rogue is having an ordinance that really nails down exactly what they do. And this ordinance is very specific. The committee shall do X, Y, Z. And if they stepped out of line, I mean, all our meetings are public. All their meetings would be required to be public under this ordinance. We added that as a new provision. I like that a lot. And so there'd be no way for our committee to do something wrong for very long. They have to take committee votes on what they do that has any substance. So there'd have to be a public meeting. And if the committee voted to say, refuse to allow the contractor to send ballots to anybody who wasn't left-handed, that would be immediately not only illegal, but conspicuous. So, you would know about it right away, Michael. You would probably be at the meeting. And I think that the odds of that happening are extremely low because the way this draft ordinance is written, or even if it ends up being a policy resolution, is so meticulous about exactly what the committee will do that.
Well, Marty, I'm wondering if we could just remedy this by putting in a phrase at the end of the mail vote service contract reports to the committee, comma, which keeps the manager fully informed of all activities.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, I would concur with that too. That clarifies.
So there's nothing going, so all the calls and messages that Michael used to get will still get, he just doesn't have to respond.
Right. You should tell Nikki to call me. And Matt Lilly already has my phone number because I'm the one who, did the background checks on the company. So what we have here is two proposals for language, and we can actually adopt both of them. I think they're coherent with each other. The first sentence would go, the village manager issues and administers the contract at the sole discretion of the committee, period. Then it says the election committee manages the election process, period, no change there. And the final sentence, we could adopt Arthur's language. It says the mail vote service contractor reports to the committee, which keeps the manager fully informed. I can live with it.
I don't like your addition at the first sentence at the sole discretion or sole direction of the committee.
You don't want to say.
I think that is a village operation that you cannot, I don't think it, I may be wrong here, but I think it's a village operation that has to be maintained by the village.
So you're saying that the issues and administers the contract, period?
Period.
And then your language suggestion, which keeps the manager fully informed. I mean, they are parallel. They do the same thing. I can live with just the second one. Jen, what do
Because your second sentence is so strong. The election committee manages the election process. So I feel like, that's the meat of it. It's strong. That's how I read it, but.
And then the Arthur suggestion about keeping the village manager fully informed.
That would go on the end of the third sentence.
Yeah, I think we're fine with that. So let's take this piece by piece. This has been a good discussion. I think this is very clarifying. And Michael, I'm really glad you contributed into it. And Arthur, I'm glad that you and Katie are here both to help on this. So the first sentence, we need a vote, yes or no, and this is an actual vote. To leave the first sentence, Arthur has proposed leaving the first sentence as is. The village manager issues and administers the contract. When we have a motion to keep that sentence as is.
I don't think you have to vote on that. You're not changing anything.
Well, we have a proposal from Larry to add the phrase at the discretion.
Larry is not a member of the committee.
No, but we take community input seriously. We appreciate it. Always have. So the question is, let's do the second part, right? Since there was no motion to do the first part, let's go to the Arthur suggestion on the third sentence in that little short paragraph, which would say the mail vote service contractor reports to the committee, comma, which keeps the village manager fully informed. Is there a motion to add that?
Marty, I'm abstaining from this vote. I really feel that I like Arthur's suggestion. Let's let the council mull it over and see what they agree to or can come up with. That's my feeling about it, okay? But I do like Arthur's suggestion about let's let the council mull it over. Arthur, would you agree to that?
Yeah, I agree to that, although I would also agree to adding that one phrase, because that would give the show what's at stake, you know.
Well, okay, if the council agrees to that.
Yeah.
That
Well,
one
you know,
additional
well,
phrase.
I cannot speak for my.
Yeah, right. I understand that. That's why I say let's let the council mull it over. But the phrase is okay. But
Yeah.
I really think it needs to be looked at by the council.
Yeah, by putting it in, it forces us to actually look at it.
Yeah,
That's my own point.
That's a good
that's
point.
what I would
Arthur.
think too. Yeah.
That's probably a reason to add it.
Yeah.
So, do we have a motion to change the third sentence in that paragraph to say, quote, "The mail vote service contractor reports to the committee, comma, which keeps the manager fully informed." The committee keeps the manager fully informed. Maybe have a motion to do that.
I move.
I will second that.
Okay, Paul seconds. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Jen, do you have a vote on that?
I think I'm probably abstaining. I don't love the language.
I
Not-
abstain too.
I find it like inartful.
That is
Is
Even though
And-
Art recommended it.
good pun, Arthur.
And
Uh,
I'm a little bit confused in the sense that, are we saying the contractor is now gonna call the committee chair first? Or are they
Yeah,
still gonna
that's what you're saying.
coordinate directly with the manager? Cause I mean, I guess.
Well,
Yeah,
it says the contractor reports to the committee, which means that the contractor would call me first. So I think that is clear, Jen. And then it just imposes a very reasonable requirement on the committee to keep the manager fully informed, when that makes sense to me too. Does that help?
yeah.
You know,
Um,
the key here structurally is that the contractor reports to the committee to help to not have Michael have to be in the loop on every single minor thing. That having the contract report to the committee makes sense. And having the committee and keep the manager informed is not a big deal. I would CC Michael on everything anyway.
So, I mean. What I think this does is makes it hard to envision I'm gonna use the word partnership, or just the idea that the manager, who I get it, is a council employee, but for the issue of elections, reports to the committee for all intents and purposes. And so I don't know, I don't love it. I don't love the language. I don't have an alternate proposal. I don't think it matters that much because lots of other people do like it, and we don't need 5-0 votes on everything.
This is also true. Good
Jennifer,
point.
your points are well taken.
Yeah, glad you're on the
Marty, I can envision the contractor calling you and asking for a change order. Okay.
Mhm. And Michael, I would have to go to Michael and say, Michael, if first I would come to the committee and say, do we agree with the change order? If there was one. I mean, I get change orders on my job sometimes. So I know what you mean. First, the committee would have to approve it. Then I'd have to have Michael would actually do the document if the committee did agree to do it. So there's that coordination again, which I think is what we're really trying to say here, is that the committee basically makes the managerial decision. Michael can help implement it with the document. Does that sound good to people? Paul's thinking about it.
I'm thinking of it.
But that's sort of the administering the contract at the direction of the committee. Like,
Right,
Yeah,
right. I'm
exactly.
fine with
That's-
both.
that's
both of
what
those
that
options.
is. Yeah.
And then that's what it should say. I'm sorry, that's what it should say.
I'm fine with both of those things. So what we have basically at the
You're-
moment, it
well,
sounds like
one
a-
of the issues here is that everybody's pretending that this is the presidential vote, and if it isn't solved that night or that minute, the world's going to fall down, and it's not true.
but we do occasionally need to make
yeah,
quick decisions, but mostly
but-
you're right, we have time.
The fact is, you know, there's nothing wrong with the village manager administering the contract. No matter how this works, it requires that both the election committee and the manager have to agree that the whatever it is to be done is going to get done. There has to be that communication.
And that's what Arthur's proposed language
If he calls you in
does.
the middle of the night and says, I need approval to, you know, for another $500 to do, you can't do spit until you got a hold of the administrator, and vice versa.
That's
So
true.
the idea that it's, you know, so that's the whole point. You want to have him administer the contract, fine, at the direction of the committee, the election committee. It's simple. And
It
it's
seems pretty
clear.
straightforward, doesn't it?
Yep.
Okay. We right now on the floor on the floor have a motion. We were in the middle of a vote to say that we would adopt inartful language that says that on the third sentence there, the mail boat service contractor reports to the committee. The committee keeps the manager fully informed. Does that work? All right. As I was recording, Jen, have you recorded the votes on this yet? I had 3-2, but I'm not, or 3 and 2 abstentions.
Yeah.
All right. So we have recorded that vote to add the language, the third sentence. Does anyone want to go back and add the language? The first sentence, it says, the village manager issues and administers the contract at the direction of the committee. Do we have a motion to add that there as well? I don't know that we need both, but it certainly wouldn't hurt. I like that language.
I think I would accept that. Okay.
We need somebody to move and somebody to second if we want to add that there as well. It's doesn't harm anything, I think. Think
I
it's helpful.
move.
I'll second.
Paul seconds. All right. The motion on the floor is to add the following phrase to the first sentence. At the discretion of the committee. So the sentence reads, the village manager issues and administers the contract at the direction of the committee. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, yep.
That's 5. All opposed? No be opposed.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Michael, trust me, we'll work together just fine.
Yeah, I'm not worried about you, Marty. There was a slight change of words there. Is it at the direction of the committee or at the discretion of the committee?
At the direction.
Correction.
Okay. All right. We
You
have
know,
now,
it's not about Marty and Michael. It's about anybody and everybody in the future.
exactly right, Nomi, exactly right. And, you know, we're trying to write a document for the ages here. I don't know that it'll last as long as the US Constitution, but I want it to be even clearer than the Constitution. And we really have a very clear document here. You guys have done just really, it's a nice tight document. It's very specific. Larry, thank you for your suggestion. Arthur, thank you for your language. Both have now passed. Jen, have I got that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on, election schedule, right? And change there to say that the election, the committee shall notify the contractor of the date for election day and the date for the forum, which makes sense procedurally. That's just mechanics. Since they need to know when to mail their ballots out, their ballot packets is the day after the forum. So that I thought was just good mechanics. And the vote counting shall take place no less than 2 weeks after election day. We already proved that. So let's just have a vote on second paragraph that says that the committee notifies the contract of the election day and the forum date. All in favor of that paragraph, please say aye.
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 Questions? Any no's? We got a unanimous? Jen, do you have a question?
No.
Okay, all right, that's approved. I'm okaying this paragraph by paragraph. All right, next one we had the ballot deadline. This is the language, we need to vote on it because it's in red, but there's no substantive change here. It just says initially the first draft we had said that the mailing date was shortly after the election forum, and now it's much more specific. It says they mail it the day after the forum, which actually helps them. It tells them the deadline to mail this thing. All in favor of that paragraph, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, yep, aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's a yes. No change in the next 2 paragraphs. They're good to go. Michael, we've had a change that you suggested down in the number 6 under specifications. See where I am, where we took out the word USPS, because you made a good point that it might be, another delivery service, right? They could FedEx all the ballots next year. Who knows? Right? So I think that's a good change. Any
A legitimate delivery service.
legitimate? Yeah, they can't send it by carrier pigeon. And then in number 7, one of the residents who chimed in here over the last couple of days added something that I also thought was a good idea. The number 7 said that the contractor has to send a test mailing to us before the general mailing to the village, so we can find out things like there's no return postage on the envelopes before it actually the mass mailing is done. And the resident said to add a line there, send a test mailing to us and correct any problems at the direction of the committee. That made sense to me. What do y'all think? Larry?
I agree.
I
Yeah.
think you should, I'm sorry, but why a test mailing? It should say test mailings.
Oh, this is editing?
Well, so, okay, so he screwed up the first time. Oops, he screwed up the second time.
All right. I
So,
actually, go ahead,
Make
Larry.
it simple. It should send test mailings.
Well, we only have time for one test mailing because we're on this tight deadline, right? We've got the election schedule that happens within a 3-month window. You have the forum on April 25 or 26. You have them mail the packet, the mass mailing on the
Okay,
26th.
but I remember,
You got muted, Larry. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, Larry.
I'm pretty sure there was a double whammy on this, like 20 or 21.
On the,
So I don't know. We'll see. If it doesn't work, I mean, it's clear enough. So
oh, okay. So the motion on the floor is to add the language in blue there from the resident in number 7 that says, send a test mailing to the committee members before the general mailing to the village and correct any problems at the direction of the committee. All in favor of that, please say aye.
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 Aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Okay, make that revision. All right, nothing in the rest of that through 8, nothing in the next couple of small paragraphs.
8. Marty,
Yes, yes.
8. Are the last 4 words different?
Oh, number 8.
Oh, you're right. Good catch. Good catch. I missed that. The lighting here in my office isn't that great. Yes, the resident said that we had the election committee shall supervise the drop box, period. And now it says supervise the drop box to ensure its security.
And I
Yeah,
would
no
ask
problem.
you to add
Mhm.
and its accessibility.
That's elsewhere in here, Larry. We have a
It is? Okay.
requirement that the drop box be accessible. Thank you.
Well,
Okay, so may we have a motion on the floor to accept the language in the final sentence in number 8 that says the election committee shall supervise the drop box to ensure its security.
I agree with that.
All right, John moves. Who's the
Yep.
second?
A second.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we approve that change. Now, that was a good catch, Larry. Thank you. Early ballots, replacement ballots, ballot records, no change. Okay, we're now up to number 11 of 15. And we have paragraph 1. Committee and contractor shall schedule the vote counting session no later than 2 weeks after election day, after 5 p.m. on that designated date. The after 5 p.m. is the part that was new. And, 5 p.m. is the deadline for the ballots to be received. So you have the vote counting after 5 p.m. That's just mechanics. Any discussion on that?
No, that's very obvious.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? No. Okay, that's approved. All right, next paragraph, no problem. All right, next paragraph, number 3 on this section. Let's see what changed there. Boy, I need better glasses. Oh, this was Ron's change. about how the committee is supposed to notify the voters if their ballot needs to be cured. And Ron had said that we needed to say how we're going to do that. So we adopted Ron's suggestion here and said, instead of saying the committee shall promptly contact the voters who messed up their ballots, ballot envelopes, it now says the committee shall notify those individual voters by email, telephone, or in person within 24 hours after the initial vote counting session to give them a chance to cure those envelopes. Voters shall 5 business days to cure their ballot envelopes. That part's not changed. So the changes in the language here, and that was what Ron recommended. So that was us implementing Ron's request or recommendation. What do you guys think? I think it's fine, but
Good.
yeah, Jen, good.
Yeah.
All right, let's have a vote on it. All in favor of that revision, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right. Okay, good on that one. Nothing on the next paragraph, number 4, nothing on number 5, nothing on number 6. Those are previously approved. Okay, number 7 here. It just clarified, instead of where it said the contractor in writing, it now says by email, which again is more specific along the lines Ryan recommended. That doesn't seem to me like very problematic. Any comments? Okay, all in favor of changing in writing to by email, please say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, good to go. No one opposed. All right, whipping right through this document. And again, guys, I know this is a chore, but we really need to do this by the book. Okay, we're up to paragraph number 8 in that section. Let's see what changed there. Oh, this was another change from Ron. One of the comments we had from Ron, and Katie, thank you again for getting us that summary last time about, that was really helpful.
And
Ron was concerned that this language is number 9 here. The committee may specify additional instructions for the contractor as necessary to ensure a fair election. That he somehow read that could possibly give us somehow license to redo the ordinance, and the committee responded on the last meeting that no, this is within the framework of the ordinance. There's nothing here that says we can give the contractor instructions outside what we're authorized in this ordinance to do. So to address that concern, just to get clarify, the proposed language here is to add a comma and in the following phrase at the end of number 9, as necessary to ensure a fair, inclusive, and accurate election, comma, consistent with the provisions of this ordinance. That cover the waterfront?
Yes.
And if the council decides not to make it an ordinance and just a policy resolution, it would say consistent with the provisions of this policy, right? Same thing. All right. Any comments on that? All in favor, please say aye.
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 5-0. Okay, nothing on number 10. So we're getting close to the finish line here, folks. Election interference. This was a really interesting discussion with the resident who called about this. We had language that said the Maryland Code of Election Law prohibits election interference, right? Then Ron said, well, you should just say what VMA's version would be. So then we had a version that said the Village of Martin's Additions prohibits election interference. And then the very smart resident who talked about this with me said, look, the Village of Martin's Additions doesn't do things. It's either the council does things or the committee does things or the staff does things or the contractor does things. And I thought that was a point well taken. Said you need to say this better and clearer. And then I also talked to a second resident who was very concerned about the election interference going on nationwide, that election officers are being, scurrilously attacked and getting, like bombed on their emails, and, that this whole, I said, I didn't think we were in immediate danger in Martin's Additions, but I took the point. And he said that, that we needed to not just say that there should be no interference with the process or with the election committee officials, which is, what we had basically, but that also there should be a prohibition on any interference with people acting under the instructions of the committee. That, if we asked Michael to, pay an invoice, because Electric did the work, we certified that, yeah, they did the work, and tell Michael, that we don't want anybody interfering with Michael getting them paid, you know? So I thought that was interesting because it really does, I think, broaden this, and it's very much reflective of the kinds of things that are going on nationwide. Again, I don't think we're in particular danger of being attacked in Martin's Additions, but election officials are nationwide quitting by the droves because they are being attacked, and people that they instruct, you know, the clerk in their office is getting, you know, bombed on email. So I like this language a lot. I think it was really smart and helpful. And I told the person who suggested it that I thought it was very good. So what do y'all think? I mean, that's my 2 cents, but this is your decision. So we need to have
I
some,
like it.
you like it, Jen?
Yep.
John, Paul?
You'll let it go. It's okay.
I would concur.
Okay, Paul, John? Nomi, you have a thought?
Marty, you're the blue, that first paragraph, that's all new, right?
Yeah, that's what came from a resident, and I thought it was quite good
Right.
too.
Yeah, okay.
And it
okay.
replaces the language we had before. So you'll see, I've got a note there to us. This replaced the former language.
But
Okay,
so the green, what's down below, do you still have that paragraph, the Village of Martin's Addition prohibits?
no, that's
Okay,
goes.
so that whole paragraph is gone.
That whole paragraph goes and
Okay,
instead
and the
of
blue
paragraph-
paragraph is in.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
That's the pros. All in favor of the blue paragraph, please say aye.
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 Okay, we're good, guys. And the other paragraph is stricken. All right, under electioneering, I don't think there was any change there at all. All right, section 13, electioneering. Okay, good. No change. Section 14, election committee meetings and public comments, no change. Election records, no change. We're down to the Appendix A. Yes, we're almost done. The red there under number 1 under voter eligibility, that had repeated what we had earlier about voter eligibility, so we took that out. But let's just have a vote on it. All in favor of the red language in number 1 under Appendix A. The committee shall define voter eligibility in accordance with the provisions specified in section 301 of the charter and section 4 of this ordinance. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? No. Okay, that's a good to go. Okay. On timing, let's see what it says there. I think that just got edited. The
Move the phrase around.
updated no later than April 7th each year. We should vote on it because it's in red. All in favor of that paragraph, please say aye.
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 Okay, 5-1. Okay on that. All right. Okay. And again, voter roll verification under section 3 of that section, the appendix 1, 2, sections under section Roman numeral 3, number 2, A and B. These are Ron's suggestions. He said we should add there the phrase by applying the steps below, which we did in both. So that's implementing Ron's change. Let's do them together. All in favor of adding that phrase in A and B, please say aye.
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 No opposed, 5-1. And then Ron had also recommended, you remember we talked about this last week, about adding a provision here that the committee in the future should be able to send an annual notice to each voter by first-class mail and use the return mail to help identify persons who may no longer be current residents. That's what the county does. It doesn't work very well, but you know, there's no reason we shouldn't provide it here for committees to do. It's a valid technique, procedure. Then again, this is Ron's suggestion and I'm in favor of it. What do y'all think?
I'm in favor.
Okay. Let's have
Yeah,
a vote.
it's okay. It's fine.
Okay. All in favor of adding Ron's provision as F here in this section, please say aye.
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 Okay, 5-0. 5-0. Okay. Number G there was just editorial because the word information was weirdly worded. Again, goes to artfulness, Jen.
Yes.
The artfulness of drafting. I don't think well, let's vote on all in favor of that edit, please say aye.
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 All right. None opposed. All right. Nothing in then section, the next line, 3 and 4. Nothing, nothing, nothing. And then we get down to all the way down to the tiny Roman numeral 3. And that's highlighted in yellow because, you know, Jen and I spent some time looking at this whole voter roll verification procedure. And I think this is something we need to, Katie and Arthur, refer to the council. Because we both, Jen and I, and Jen, I'm not speaking for you, you can speak for yourself here, had some real questions about the timing on this stuff. In some places it says 60 days, like here, and then the Roman numeral 3, right? And, you know, we kept the timing that was in last year's document, and we would like, I think, Katie, maybe this is a request, I'll ask the committee if they want to do this. I personally would like Ron to look at these where it says 60 days, 15 days, or a reasonable period, or a reasonable opportunity with no days specified. I think we need some cleanup on aisle 3 here. And I'm just not happy with this. In one case, I'm jumping ahead a little bit here. When you go down further in this verification document, and it says that people can challenge their status of the voter roll as late as election day. All right, I'm going down, I'm here under section number 4(1)D, all right, where it says in yellow, how does this work if the person doesn't raise the challenge until election day? Because then you don't have 60 days or 30 days or 15 days. You basically don't have any days to answer a challenge, because the last date that we can ask the contractor to issue a ballot is a week later, after election day. So I don't know quite how these dates work, these 30-day periods, 15-day periods, 60 days. And my suggestion, unless people have a brilliant thing here, I mean, what we did was we kept it from last year. We didn't change it. You know, our mandate was to basically, you know, use the procedures from last year. So we have here, but I have real questions about this, and I would like Ron to look it over on. Katie, is that something we can ask Ron to do?
I mean, yeah, Arthur, I always have to, when just so you all know, for protocol reasons, when I go to Ron, I can go to Ron and ask for advice, but I need to either clear it with Arthur or get a majority of the council vote. So that's why I defer to Arthur. Arthur,
Yes.
that would be fine. Yeah.
You can do, Marty, make your question a little bit more specific.
I will do that. I'll give you something by email tomorrow morning.
She has, yeah, a very specific section, Arthur. That's what she was referring to.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And
I think
Jen,
that's
did you
fine.
want to, thank you both. Jen,
Yeah.
did you want to comment on this?
No, I think, you know, trying to look at this for consistency's sake makes a lot of sense. And as we discussed, it felt arbitrary. And so, you know, trying to be reasonable, whatever reasonable means. And since we're talking about people's enfranchisement, I actually think having a legal opinion and legal advice on this specific question makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Marty, if you could send like a clean document with your questionable phrases outlined in yellow or something like that would be useful. Not a markup document, but a clean document.
I will do exactly that. Larry, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I'm just curious. I mean, this also deals with military, right?
Say again?
This also deals with military voters.
Yeah, people that are on military deployments under state law, retain the right to vote here.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if you're thinking about taking them off because they're not living here any longer, isn't that the issue? That
No, we're covered on that. We're covered on that because they have under state law.
What is this? What is this?
This is about suppose Joe Smith has voted here for 10 years,
Yeah.
and we get notice, you know, from the family, right, of a death certificate that Joe's dead.
Right.
You know, that under county and state law and general voting law means that we take him off the voter roll. Well, it turns out then we find out later that it was a fake dead notice, and Joe Smith shows up on election day and says, "I'm not dead. I'm still here, and I want to vote."
Right.
And all the stuff in here that has 15 days notice and 30 days to respond and 60 days in one case. How do we do that? Because between election day and the ballot due date is
Right.
only 2 weeks. So,
Right.
you know, I mean, obviously if the guy showed up with the ID, I mean, we'd want to give him a ballot, but there's
Right.
nothing in here that says how we would do that. And
So-
this
so
is
for a
about
mil-
timing.
So for a military guy, this could be actually more real than any other circumstance. A death, false death, whatever.
Yeah.
Is
We would
there
require-
any, is
Go
there any provision in here to reinstate a voter?
Oh, yes, you bet. You bet. There's a whole, you know, request to be reinstated, documentation for being reinstated, and an appeals process where they can challenge it if we think, you know, if they think we're wrong that we didn't reinstatement.
Right.
Yeah, I like the notification procedure. I like the challenge process, the appeal process. Only thing I'm confused about is the timing of this stuff, because again, it's
Right.
inconsistent.
Yeah.
And as Jen said, this is about enfranchising and disenfranchising people, and I take the right to vote very seriously. You know, people talk about it being sacred, and I
Thank
don't
you.
actually think that that's, you know, too much to say. I mean, it really is such an essential, you know, human right. And so I will, as Arthur requested, and thank you both Katie and Arthur for this, I will do up a memo, a clean first a clean draft of this with all the changes we approved tonight. And then you know, the very specific question with the yellow highlighting on this is where we have issues. And I'll send it to the committee and I'll send it to you guys tomorrow. Okay?
Okay.
That's great, yeah. Although Ron says he likes red lines too, so if you always have both, that's fine. Can't go wrong. The more documents, the better for Ron. So that's fine.
Well, he's seen this document a couple times
Yeah.
already, I'm sure. So we will give him a clean version for tomorrow.
That's fine.
Okay. Just to wrap this up here, we were at the first yellow mark, which was in item number C3, where it said 30 days. We've now dealt with that issue. Going down to section Roman numeral 5, adding to the voter roll. There was a little bit of editing there, again, just like we did earlier, just to say that, you know, documentation showing the voter's name, date of birth, and current address, rather than having 2 sentences. All in favor of that editorial change, please say aye.
Aye.
Yep.
Okay, good to go. We had 3 ayes on that. I know we're fading here. Fading fast. Challenges to removal. Again, there was some editorial changes, taking out redundant language on number 6, section 6, 1A and B. Same redundant language in both places. Can we have a vote, please, to remove that redundant language? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Okay, Nomi, I think, are you there? Okay. So that's approved. I think that might be the last red line we have. Nope. Nope, it was a small change from a neighbor who said that we should clean up the language in Appendix B, Forum Procedure, number 1. Right. The election committee shall finalize the venue, date, time, and details for the forum. That made sense. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
Okay. Paul, you got a vote on that?
Aye, I did, yeah.
Okay, so we have 4-0 on that. No, me not voting. And then in the same paragraph, an editorial change, we had said to, God, my glasses here. To make the forum readily accessible for candidates and residents. You see where it says ensure community access to the forum by Zoom to make the forum. All right, and then the editorial change, all in favor of that, please say aye.
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 Yeah. Aye. Aye.
Okay, 4-0 on that. All right, I think that might be the last change we have. Yes, done at 9:25. Thank you guys for persisting through this, a thankless task. All right, we've done the 2 main things on our agenda, which is to review and vote on the final draft of the consolidated rules and procedures document. Yay, team. We voted to approve the 1-page election schedule. Yay, team. I think we just need a simple procedural vote. The only other item we have tonight is the public explanation for the ordinance. That's per the council standard operating procedure. And I think we just need a procedural vote to authorize me to draft that and send it to you guys to review and edit. Right, John, you want to make a motion on that?
Yeah, I do. It's good. Mo-
Okay,
We'll
we're
Okay.
gonna vote to
Yeah.
have me to draft the proposal on the table is to have me draft the public explanation of the ordinance and send it to you guys for edit.
All right.
John?
Yep, yep.
John motioned it. So I have a second?
Yes,
Second from Naomi. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, I'll get that to you before the weekend if I can. Or as soon as I can, let me put it that way. And we should do an overall vote on the ordinance as we adopted amendments to it this evening, just because overall votes are important. So may we have a motion to approve the overall draft ordinance as amended this evening?
I move.
Naomi moves, who seconds?
Yeah, okay, yeah,
John
good.
seconds.
good.
All in favor of approving the election procedures document as amended this evening, please say aye.
Aye.
And again, from me, thank you for your patience. This has been quite a project. I have only one more question, which came from a resident and doesn't involve any of the documentary text here at all. A resident called me this morning and said that they were concerned about, did the committee have liability protection? This is the same resident, I think, who was concerned about making sure that we had good, strong, clear language about election interference. And I guess it's, troubleshooting, which I appreciate people to troubleshoot. I think that's a really helpful thing to be able to do for folks. So the question about liability protection was the committee, and Arthur and Katie, you may have the answer to this right now. Are we covered as election committee members under the current village liability protection policy, the insurance policy? Is that
I
it?
am not sure about that. Michael, what is our, do you remember what our liability insurance covers?
I don't
I
remember off
don't-
the top of my head.
I
I
do
can go
not
back
think
and
so, but
look
I'm
at
not
that.
certain.
We do carry multiple levels of insurance, including with the Legit, which is the local government Maryland insurance pool. So I have a contact there. I can always just call and ask them if there's a question here.
That'd be great. The resident said things to me that I hadn't actually thought about. He said, elections have become so contentious nationwide, and that, people are getting sued left and right, including, election commissioners, right? Election clerks. And, were we worried about that? And I said, not till you raised it, I wasn't worried about it, not till you brought it up. But Michael, do check on that, please, because the person went on to say that suppose the council, for example, refuses to approve the recount, provision, the simple little basic recount provision we have in here. And 2 years from now, candidate is really irate because they came in third and the committee didn't have a recount provision, so they didn't do a recount. And so that resident then files a civil suit saying, malfeasance or misfeasance or whatever. And are we covered? And I said, I don't know. Or again, the same thing on the referendum provisions. Suppose you had 50 residents who want to have a referendum and they get 100 signatures, right? But there's no referendum provision in our regs. And so VMA does not do a referendum on the ballot. Is VMA sued? And I said, well, VMA has sovereign immunity as a municipality. But he said that doesn't mean that the election committee has immunity. So again, two examples.
Let me clarify. I might want to check with Ron on this one too, actually, because I do think you all are protected as public officials of Martin's Additions. So if the village was sued, you would be covered under that. But let me double check that before you.
I mean, that's what I would think. The committee would be the extension of the council, but yeah, will fall under, yeah. But yes, a question for Ron. Yes.
Okay, thank you both for following up, and thank you, Arthur, also for facilitating the follow-up with Ron. I can actually put together a quick memo for you, or do you feel like you have enough tonight, or do I need to write this question up for you, Michael and Arthur and Katie?
If you don't hear back from me, just ping me and ask me.
Okay.
But I'll follow up tomorrow.
An excellent example of the cooperation between the village manager and the committee.
It's 9:30, so maybe check with me tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. I really appreciate, you guys doing this process tonight. I'm going to wrap it up by calling for an adjournment unless there's any other issue that people have on their mind. Yes, Larry.
Well, I noticed that Michael was green. And I saw that, Marty, that you were red and Jen is red, wearing red.
And
But I
Katie,
must say the most Christmas spirit is Katie, red and green, who says Merry Christmas to us all. So,
that's a
Happy
great,
holidays. I
that's a
move to
great.
adjourn. I move to adjourn.
I personally will second the motion to adjourn, and I want to thank everybody again, including the residents who contributed to this, because it really was a really nice effort. And yay, team. I will submit the official schedule to the council tomorrow, along with the rest of it, which would be great. And wish you all a very good night. May we have a vote on the motion to adjourn?
Adjourn. What, 9:31 and 9:32?
I've got 9:31 on my computer.
9:31.
Okay.
Good night,
thank you all.
everyone.
Sleep
As
tight.
usual, great job, everyone. This is such an